Hi, I am Megyn Price, and I am honored to once again join the Earth Day 2024 virtual stage. I am thrilled and excited to be joining the stage with Laurence Carr. Laurence Carr is founder of Laurence Carr Incorporated and Studio Laurence, specializing in sustainable interiors and products, and an internationally renowned thought leader for the circular economy and applying circular methods to the built environment. Today, we're going to talk about the environmental impact of our interiors and furnishings and how we can make them more sustainable. So welcome, Laurence.
Thank you, Megyn. It's great to be here, especially with you.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. And, I noticed right away something that pops from your website, from your business model. It's regenerative, restorative, luxurious. So you're talking about sustainability, and you are not talking about deprivation. You are not talking about sustainability at the cost of beauty in our homes, as evidenced by your gorgeous work that is everywhere. And I think what I'm really interested in talking about is that term circular economy, circular methods, because a lot of words like sustainability, organic, these are thrown around without a lot of backup. And you really put your money where your mouth is. So what is the key problem, for our furnishings? What impact the materials in our home have on our planet and also on our health, on our family's health?
Yes, wonderful question. So, the impact of materials in design and architecture on the planet and our health cannot be overstated, especially in the context of the built environment and in this discussion, our interiors. I really truly think that our collective actions in designing interiors and constructing buildings have the power to shape a more sustainable and resilient future for both the planet and the humanity. So to understand the challenges specific to our industry, let's talk about carbon footprint of construction of materials. Let's just start with that. Traditional construction materials such as concrete, steel, and aluminium are notorious for their high carbon emissions during production. So in 2024, we're in 2024, despite the advancement in green building practice, the construction industry still accounts for 40% of global carbon emissions.
Wow.
So the extraction, the manufacturing, the transportation and installation of these materials contribute to environmental degradation and climate change. So to mitigate this impact, there's really an urgent need to shift towards low carbon and carbon neutral alternatives, such as recycled materials, engineered wood products, and sustainable concrete mixes with reduced cement content. There's another pressing challenge, which is the waste generated during building processes and also the waste that we find in furniture. So construction and demolition waste constitute a substantial portion of the global waste stream, filling up landfills and polluting ecosystems. So we have to know that building construction continues to grapple with inefficient construction practices, excessive material usages, and limited recycled and reused initiatives. So in addition, there is also the presence of harmful chemicals in traditional materials, and these pose a significant risk to both environmental sustainability and occupant health in buildings, in interiors, whether they're residential, commercial, hospitality interiors. Many conventional building materials, such as paint, adhesives, and finishes, they all contain volatile organic compounds, so we call them VOCs, or formaldehyde and other toxic substances. These chemicals can off-gas over time, a very long time, years, contributing to indoor air pollution and actually exacerbating respiratory ailments, allergies, and other health issues, which is why we often talk about health and wellness and healthy materials. Because by designing interiors with healthy materials, we address some of these health issues. So really, in 2024, this demand for healthier and environmental friendly building materials and interior materials is on the rise. And it drives innovation with non-toxic alternatives, biodegradable finishes, and low-emission products.
You know,
that
it's,
will,
yeah,
yeah.
you sort of tick something off in my brain just because most of my career I've spent in movie studios. And you know, and the older studios, our entire cast would have to take Claritin or set in order to shoot because we would all have respiratory issues almost immediately upon entering the sound stages. You know, they were built during a time when they used asbestos and they removed the asbestos, but you know, the products had a direct effect on us. And
Right.
one piece, obviously, we don't all live in movie studios, but a lot of construction already has happened. And what you were doing is really pioneering for the future and for, you know, current construction. But something that I found so interesting was the notion of regenerative, restorative interiors and furnishings. So is there a way to mitigate? Let's say I buy a house from 1920. Like, is there a way to mitigate what's already there in a responsible way for the health of my family and also to preserve, you know, the history of the house without having to tear everything down and rebuild now that we're doing sustainable, which creates, as you said, the waste problem. We don't want to get rid of everything that is, but I love your focus as restoring what is.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So when you address a renovation, which is what your question is about, you really want to make sure that you can keep what is there as much as possible and avoid waste. So in terms of construction, it depends on what's in the walls, you know, what you find that you can keep. And also what's, you know, on the floor, on the ceiling. Whenever we can, we keep the existing condition of the house as long as we can keep them healthy. And in terms of furniture and surfaces that are covered, we try to see if we can keep, for instance, antique furniture is fine. This is why we call them antiques, because the emissions that I was referring to before had time to really, you know, emit for years. So now they are actually good to keep. Shopping for purchasing, sourcing for antique furniture is fantastic because it's a way to keep all these decor and furniture away from the landfills. Now, in terms of materials that you want to add, once you keep as much of the existing components of the house, you know, and that also includes kitchen and bath and you know, different rooms that you can keep, the private spaces as well as the public spaces. You want to make sure that you can integrate as many materials that I'm going to describe here. So for, you know, really this regenerative design, you want to focus on really the circular economy practice, which is, as I just mentioned, you want to keep it away from waste and you want to reuse as much as you can and explore non-conventional options, such as innovative biomaterials that are derived from waste products and renewable resources. So I will try to give some examples here. There's one category of materials that are derived from waste products, which are transformed into valuable resources through innovative manufacturing. So for example, we talk a lot about mycelium-based materials. They utilize the root structure of a fungi to bring agricultural waste, such as corn stalk, or sawdust into lightweight and durable composites suitable for furniture. You know, they're even used in insulation, what you put between the walls, you know, to keep the temperature in the building, and even building panels, you know, or house panels, which are part of building your walls. Now we have also, yeah.
If I could just interrupt you. So my question for that, because, you know, I read all kinds of things about all these different products. Are they available? Can people get them? And then secondly, because I come from a long line of hardworking women, are they durable? Can we clean them? Do they last? Are they beautiful? Obviously, they're beautiful if you use them. But are they something that we can find, that we can use, that can be at least semi-affordable or a choice which could be worked into a project?
Yes.
Just for the average user, you know?
Yes, no, that's absolutely very important question. Yes, we do find them very available. There are more and more resources to find them online. You know, you find all sorts of materials that are available to you. I mean, we can find it online, you know, now more and more. If you do a search for sustainable materials for interiors, you have a whole series of companies that will line up here. So I wanted to just show you, for instance, for the waste, I wanted to show, because all of this is great, but it's just good to, I prepared a few things for you just to show you, for instance, you know, that bio waste product that I was showing. So here I have some wood here that are, you know, wood that have been recycled and taken from bamboo or other different woods. And these are for a material called tencel, lyocell, and modal fibers. This wood can be transformed into a fiber, a textile that we use everywhere these days. So to give you an example, tencel fibers, they are being spun around with water, and they become kind of a very thin fiber, and then they become a yarn, and then they become a textile. For instance, tencel can be found in bath and linen products that you can use for your home, you know, bed sheets and clothing, but also in rugs. And it's like a very easy product to find. So you Google tencel fibers, lyocell, you'll find it in so many brands that are really, really
because I've
affordable
seen
and famous.
tencel all over the place. So tencel
Yeah.
itself is one of these natural sustainable products.
Right, right. And
Oh,
yes.
no
Biodegradable and really a wonderful source. And it keeps expanding. It's just produced by the Lenzi Group, which is a global company. You know, it's also important to understand, you know, the different resources that are like biomaterials and all the advances in biotechnology, you know, biofabricated materials, so let's talk about, you know, some progressive products. There's a company called Evocative Design, and they specialize in mycelium-based materials and have partnered with a lot of leading brands to develop sustainable packaging, furniture, and construction. So that is another great company. I want to just mention also that we have Algix, which is a company that pioneers the use of algae, you know, algae-based polymers in a wide range of applications, from footwear to automotive components and interiors.
What's that company called again?
It's called Algix. So it's Algix.
That's so interesting, because that was where I was going to head just before we wrap up, was, you know, what can people do? What can individuals do to sort of move in the right direction? You know, we buy organic, we do this and that. But what you're like, these specific companies, Evocative Design, Algix, doing the searches for sustainable furnishings and paying attention, maybe just before you automatically order something from Amazon, do just nothing against Amazon, because I think they have a lot of sustainable products there as well, but do the extra 5 minutes of a little research online just to get yourself, just to narrow your road of what your choices are. And I would also direct everyone to just for your own pleasure, go to laurencecarr.com, because it is just so gorgeous. And it's such a beautiful illustration of what you can do within the sustainable world. I mean, there's really nothing that you can't do. It's, you know, with technology and with people like you who are true, like innovators and visionaries, there's really no reason to not launch yourself into this modern world of the built realm. It's like, it doesn't make any sense to stay with the old when the new is just so beautiful and just so obviously better for our health, for the world, for everyone.
Oh, thank you so much, Megyn. This is really very meaningful to me to hear these words. You know, it's really an approach. You know, it's a mindset. It's really the ability to make informed decisions. Sustainability is more and more the ability to understand that we are making conscious decisions, you know, to preserve the planet and ourselves. You know, for professional, I always, you know, push and say, try to align, you know, some of your practices, and I'm talking about designers and architects, you know, with sustainable development goals, because it's kind of a universal call to action, you know, that helps us to protect the planet and poverty, and also ensure prosperity for all of us. I mean, for everyday consumers who are expert or not, in interiors, in designing your homes, or in contributing to where you work, you can go online and really look for third-party certification partners. And the Forest Stewardship Council is one of them. When you buy furniture, or when you buy fabrics, textile for your interiors, look at the labels. And the more you look at the labels and try to recognize some really third-party certification organization that just label and say, this textile is a recyclable one, this one contributes to circularity, this one contributes to a community. The more you learn the names of those, Ecotex, GOTS, Forest Stewardship Council, Cradle to Cradle, which is the circular one, and other ones, many other ones, the more you can make informed decision. So that's I would say.
So much. I feel like I have new terms also to include in my searches, and I also love when you brought up antiques, which is, give your home a story, give your home a history, give your, really incorporate what was with what is and what can be. And I love how you've melded all of those things. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing all of this with us and giving us direction and creation. I mean, your creativity is just astounding, and I just love it. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Megyn. It's been a pleasure having this conversation.